Hi, I'm Angela English, and I'm here today to talk about The First Ladies by Marie Benedict for the March Madness book selection. This novel details the friendship between Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune beginning in the mid-20s. They quickly learn they share similar beliefs. Mary is the daughter of former slaves and is an activist within the Black community and is also working to see Black children are properly educated. She is very well known in the Black community, almost a celebrity. She meets Eleanor, and they begin a lifelong friendship despite it being socially inappropriate for the times. As Franklin Roosevelt succeeds politically, Eleanor and Mary work together to strengthen causes they both believe in, women's rights and education. During their work, Eleanor also begins to understand the struggles of Black Americans. Each chapter is written from either the perspective of Eleanor Roosevelt or Mary McLeod Bethune, and shares insights into their relationships with each other and with their respective advocacy work. This is a work of historical fiction, so some of the events have been sensationalized, but the foundations of their friendship have been well documented. Marie Benedict does a lovely job of emphasizing their shared recorded work together, but creates private, personal conversations she imagines they had that built their unique and lifelong friendship. This book should win because it does explore some of the history of the 1920s and early 30s, and it goes through, I think, up until the 1970s, right before they both pass away. And it just shares some information about how these two kind of broke some social barriers of one being a Black woman and one being a white woman. They dined together at different establishments where it was not considered appropriate for them to dine together, and they really supported each other's work, and it's really kind of empowering for people to see that. This book is available at our library in a regular copy, large print copy, and is also available on Libby.
Hi, I'm Audrey, and for my March Madness pick, I chose Mitch Albom, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, which is a really good book, and it revolves around an older gentleman that turns 83 and then dies on the day of his birthday. And it goes through the 5 people that are important in his life that he meets in heaven in order for him to feel like he has come home to heaven. It goes through the gentleman's lifetime and even before his lifetime, describing the impact that he made. It reminds me in a lot of ways of It's a Wonderful Life, and just what would have happened if you hadn't been born. But the 5 people that he meets go through everyone from the lady that the park was named after to his wife, that they couldn't have children and he regrets it, and it goes through their meeting and describing their interaction in life. I really do love this book. It brings up all kinds of questions with the next world that we live in, and I look forward to you reading it, appreciating it, and letting us know. Thank you.
So for March Madness, I am recommending this book for the winner. It is Star Villain by John Scalzi. It is an excellent humor book from a long-standing author. It involves a man who goes to his uncle's funeral, substitute teacher, and he finds out his uncle was a supervillain, professional, and that he is inheriting the business. Spy cats, unionized dolphins, a lot of things to love. Everyone I've recommended this book to said it was a riot of laughs, and I don't want to spoil it, but I think that going into March, you want to shake off the winter doldrums, this is a really good book to do that.
Hi, this is Krista Palm, the Children's Librarian at James Kennedy Public Library. I'm here to talk about my favorite adult book from last year. This is not a children's book. This is my favorite adult book from last year. It tied with Barbara Kingsolver's Demon Copperhead for the Pulitzer Prize. but I like trust even more than Demon Copperhead. Trust is based in the 1920s, and it is about a tycoon who rose to the top based on some iffy practices and how he wants to be portrayed in his book. A book was written about him, and he didn't like it, so he had a book written about him by a ghostwriter. And it talks about the trust that people put into one another and the trust that you can put into writing. And it's really a good book to show different viewpoints of one person's life and how different things can change the trust that you put in them. So this is a great book to check out and read, and it should win March Madness.
Hey everyone, Paul here at the library with my book, or March Madness book tournament recommendation. This is the book Coraline from Neil Gaiman, which is one of the first horror novels I ever read as a kid. I highly recommend you check this out if you haven't. It's a movie as well. The movie's great, but I'm here to talk about the book. So Coraline is a young girl who her family moved into a new house. Coraline's very energetic. She loves to explore and whatnot, loves puzzles and games. But when her family moves, her parents are really involved in a project and they can't really spend time with her because they have to work on that. So she meets her goofy neighbors and whatnot, and she discovers a small door that when you open it, it just goes to a brick wall. But at nighttime, when she opens it, it leads to a passageway, which takes her to another world. There's alternative versions of everybody that lives in the apartment building that they're in, which are the other versions, like other mother, other dad, other neighbors. These other versions are just like her parents, except they have buttons sewn into their eyes. And they give her complete attention. They have all these whimsical adventures with all sorts of like wacky stuff. Until the other mother wants Coraline to join them by sewing buttons into her eyes, which would make her a permanent resident of the other version of the world. When Coraline says no, other mother kind of begins to reveal herself as like this sinister monster who traps her in there and then forces her to basically play like a series of games to be able to escape with her parents and the souls of other children that have been trapped there. Because basically, when she has you sew the buttons into your eyes, she slowly drains the life out of you, basically, and turns you into a ghost. It is an excellent book. It's like 150 pages, so it's a quick read. It's so much fun. It's got great details in it, as well as when the other world slowly starts to turn more and more sinister. Again, fantastic book. If you love horror, you should really read this. It's not super scary. It's meant for like grade school. We have it in 4 to 6. So it's a great like kids' first horror novel, just like it was for me. So yeah, that's Coraline from Neil Gaiman. Be sure to check out and vote for it. See you guys next time.
Hi, this is Debbie Gunkoff from the James Kennedy Library, and I'm here to talk about March Madness. The book that I read is called An Act of Love by Nancy Thayer. It's about a blended family. It's a mother and a daughter, and a father and a son who blended together. And the children are like 3 years apart, and they go to a boarding school for high school. And the daughter said that she was raped by her older stepbrother. And though the story just keeps going on and on, you never know if she's telling the truth or he's telling the truth. You know, the parents get upset with each other. She gets put in an institution to deal with her emotions, and he gets charged with another rape. So it's really great, and you don't know how it's going to end, and it just keeps you going. I read this in a day and a half. So anyway, vote for me. Thanks.
Hi, this is Dawn at the James Kennedy Public Library, and this is my pick for March Book Mania. The book is Lasagna Means I Love You by Kate O'Shaughnessy. I loved this book. I haven't connected with a book in a long time the way I did with this one. And while this book is written for 4th to 6th graders, it is one of the best books I've read. So don't just discount it that it's a kid's book. I wanted to wrap my arms around the main character, Mo, and tell her I would be her family. I just loved this character. She is an orphan, and she writes letters to her recently deceased grandma, who had been her caretaker. And so she writes her these letters as a way to keep their connection alive. And that is how the story is told, is it's told all through Mo's letters. And while trying to find a hobby, Mo discovers food and that it's something to nourish your body, but it can nourish your soul. And it can connect you to other people and to your friends and to your family and to your history. And so this girl who has no family goes actively looking for recipes from other families that connect them, all the while hoping that she just might find a recipe of her own someday. And you will root for Mo, you will be happy for her, you will cry for her, laugh with her, and ultimately you'll be glad that you met her. So go read this book and vote for it for March Book Mania. Thanks.
Hello, this is Alex Wiesreich, and I'm here to talk to you today about the March Book Madness at the James Kennedy Public Library and the book that I believe will be winning. That book is Ashfall by Mike Mullen. This book makes it simple to imagine because it's not in a faraway place. It is right here in eastern Iowa. The book starts out in Cedar Falls, where a young boy named Alex, much like myself, gets in a fight with his parents, and his parents decide to leave him at home when they go on a vacation to Warren, Illinois, or Apple Canyon Valley. Not too far, maybe an hour, 2 hours drive. While they're gone, the supervolcano underneath the Yellowstone erupts. If you don't know what that is, it's a real thing, and one day it will erupt and it will wipe out half of North America. It will cover the other half of North America in ash, much like a snowfall, maybe 6 inches to a foot, and it will also create weather patterns, basically putting us in winter for 3 to possibly 10 years. In this book, while his parents are gone, the volcano erupts and he is stuck at home. When he goes out the next day, after 2 days of straight thunder and booming, not knowing what's going on, all the power is out, it would be scary. Everything's quiet. He goes to leave the house and doesn't know where to go. He goes to his local school, and already draconian measures are coming down. There's a shortage of food. There's a shortage of water. Everyone's trying to survive on what they have and what they have stored, but no one was prepared for this. And so he sets out to find his family, and he goes out on Highway 20 using cross-country skis. He skis through the ash and makes it as far as Worthington, Iowa. I told you it was close. And in Worthington, he finds a girl to care for him after he has received an injury, and after staying there for a few days, they set out together to Illinois to try and find his parents. They have to avoid Dubuque because of rioting and food shortages that have made it a very unsafe area, which, that many people in one area with no food, could become a problem. So you'll have to read to see how Alex resolves his issues, but for now, I'm going to store a few more bottles of water and a couple more cans of food, because if this ever happens, I'll be happy I read this book.
Hi, I'm Samantha Birds at the James Kennedy Library, and this is my book that I picked for the March Madness thing. It's called The Quilt Maker's Journey, and this is kind of like a prequel to The Quilt Maker's Gift, if you've ever heard of that book. But this is the book that I grew up knowing, and I really love it. So basically it follows the story of this girl who is super rich in the beginning, and she comes to be humbled, I guess, and learn how to share her gifts of quilt making with people. And one thing that I really love about this book, other than its beautiful storytelling, are its beautiful pictures. And it often has like these quilt designs in it that like it just blends in with the scenery, which I think is just so pretty. Like here's one with the birds, and she makes a bird quilt. And it's a children's book, but it's a very good one. So that's why I think you should vote for this book.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and the book that I believe should win March Book Madness is Alone by Megan Freeman. In this book, you follow a 12-year-old girl named Maddie who has a unsupervised sleepover at her grandparents' apartment, but wakes up to find that her entire state of Colorado has been evacuated due to a threat on the western United States. You get to follow Maddie along as she learns how to survive not only during Colorado winters, but also natural disasters such as wildfires and tornadoes. What she thinks might only be days or even weeks of being alone turns into years. This book is extremely suspenseful and is so well written, and you will never want to put it down. It is absolutely amazing from start to finish. This book, if you notice, says it is a young adult book. It was recommended to me by my 10-year-old, but this book is by far the greatest book that I have ever read. I would recommend this to anyone, and that is why it should win the March Book Madness. It is perfect for all ages, no matter what stage of life you are in. So please vote for Alone by Megan Freeman.
Hi, I'm Doug Domeyer. I'm a patron of the library, and today I'd like to recommend The Way of Kings. It's the first novel in the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. It's about a war between humans and these monsters that come every couple years, and there are people that are equivalent to our saints that often fight them, and then in between wars will hold them back. 9 of the 10 of them give up on an oath and leave the last one by himself. Shortly after this, a group of heroes also leave. 4,000 years later is when the rest of the book takes place. The saints are still worshipped. The heroes are now looked on as villains. And all the powers they once had are forgotten. It follows 3 characters. Kaladin, who is a soldier who is betrayed and sold into slavery. Shallan, an artist who is trying to steal from the king's sister. And Dalinar, the king's uncle, who is trying to unite his people from an enemy he is having visions of coming. The book deals heavily in mental illness. A lot of characters have like depression or survivor's guilt. And some of them start bonding with the spirits of the world, giving them powers. But along with these powers, people are worried that the monsters that they once fought will come back. It is about 1,200 pages, so it's not a fast read, but I would really recommend it. It's the book that actually made me fall in love with reading. That's why I believe that you should vote for The Way of Kings.
Hello, my name is Rory, and the book I think should win March Book Madness is Chomp by Carl Hayson. Chomp is a quick read for all ages. Chomp is a book about a father and son, Mickey and Wahoo Cray, who own Everglades animals, a practical zoo in the backyard. Alice the alligator is a TV star. She has been used in many shows. When Derek Badger, a ripoff Bear Grylls, decides to film a show on the Everglades, the Crays are hired to do the animal wrangling. After a tussle with Alice, the Crays realize Derek Badger is no outdoors expert. They try to back out of the show, but they really need the money, so end up taking a trip to the actual Everglades, not semi-tame backyard pets. Things get wild. This book is an action-packed adventure that will keep you engaged from first page to last. So please, read it, and let's chomp the competition.